Hello, everybody. Happy Wednesday. It is Wellness Wednesday, and I want to welcome you to episode number 4 of my live series, The Modern Midlife Woman. So, look, I'm just so excited about this topic. It is one of the things that I get the most questions on. So today I want to keep it fun because for a lot of you, this is your lunch break, or it's either right before lunch and you're kind of hungry and maybe grumpy with low blood sugar. Maybe it's after lunch and you're feeling a little bit sleepy. So I do want to keep it fun. I want to keep it real. And I just want to give you some great information and some actionable tips that you can start using today. So if you're not quite sure how you got here or you can't remember the topic, today I'm going to be talking about the 3 hormones that you need to understand to unlock your midlife weight gains so that you can reclaim your energy, your confidence, your zest for life. Okay. So I'm going to be talking, for the next 30 to 45 minutes or so. So if you are joining, please go ahead and say hi in the comments and maybe tell me where you are joining from. I would love to know that. Also, if you happen to be catching this on the replay, be sure to comment #replay on there so I can make sure and get all your questions. Now, how this is going to go is I'm going to share some information with you. I've got some very simple slides to put up just as little placeholders. Nothing pretty, nothing fancy, just something to help steer the conversation and make sure that we stay on the same page. If you do have questions, put them in the chat. When I'm done with the material, I'm going to go ahead and answer your questions right here live. I'll stay on as long as there's questions. And because I'm still working on that whole being able to talk and answer questions and not lose my train of thought thing. It's a little hard when you're by yourself versus if you have a partner helping you on the stream. So that's it. Let's go ahead and get started. Again, I'm just so pleased that you're here today, and I hope you love this material and get a lot of value from it. So before we deep dive into, let me just add this real quick. See, super simple, nothing fancy here today. Before we deep dive into the hormones part that is making our midlife weight gain so challenging, I want to share a little bit about why I'm so passionate about women's midlife health matters, because it is really a passion for me. Now, in 2014, I was working at GE. I was really at the peak of my corporate career. I had spent the last decade doing everything that I was supposed to do, right? Proved I was a hard worker as an individual contributor, staying late, coming in early, volunteering for initiatives. I became the go-to leader to roll out new challenges. C-suite leaders were tapping me for early promotions. I was getting promoted every, say, 16 to 18 months in my 20s. And it was an exciting time. I loved what I was doing. And then finally I was promoted and I was running a very large global organization and just going above and beyond, doing everything that I was asked to do, even if it meant I was sacrificing my time and some of my personal values in terms of spending time with friends and family. I really had to take a step back and think, hey, is this what I really want out of my life? Okay. I was literally spending more time with my coworkers than I was with my family, especially with big IT releases, right? With Oracle and Salesforce and things that can just suck every bit of time out of your day. I was 15 pounds overweight. I was having problems fitting into my clothes. Breakfast was swinging into Dunkin' Donuts and getting a large coffee with cream and sugar and a little breakfast sandwich. At lunch, I'd usually go to Jersey Mike's. I wasn't treating myself well, and I really felt very disconnected from my work's purpose. And this was around the time then that I started my personal wellness journey. And what really, really hit me was that I had spent so much time on my career that I let my personal relationships and health do a complete downward spiral. If you can relate to that, please comment #relate in the chat. I needed to change. I really did. I needed to change. I realized that I was an expert in my 9 to 5. So why couldn't I be an expert in my own life? Okay. Now, my health transformation had 2 parts. I'm going to call them 2 chapters. So chapter 1 is before perimenopause and menopause. So shortly after I had these realizations, I hired a coach, because I believe in hiring coaches. I always have, that helped me understand how to eat for the body and the feelings that I wanted to have. So I wanted to be happy. I wanted to have clarity. I wanted to have energy. I wanted to have confidence, right? So that first chapter of weight loss was really fairly straightforward. I cleaned up my nutrition. I established a steady workout routine, and I saw pretty quick, predictable results. Okay. I ended up losing 13 pounds in 30 days. And no, that may or may not be standard. I really applied myself and applied the principles. And I was thrilled, right? Now, chapter 2 weight loss was after hormonal changes kicked in. So I had gotten off birth control, hormonal birth control, and literally things started going crazy for me. Brain fog, hot sweats, hot flashes and night sweats, sorry. Just couldn't remember anything. And my emotions were all over the place. So I rolled right from what they call post-birth control syndrome into perimenopause and menopause. And it felt like overnight, the scale just went up. Like I didn't do anything different with my eating or my workout routines. It's just I was gaining weight. I was a hot mess. And it was really, really impacting my relationships, everything that I was trying to do with my business. It was a pretty terrible time. It was one of the worst times of my life, really. Now, when I figured out what happened in terms of my body, and then I realized that I had to take a very, very different approach to weight loss. Patience was required. Different methodologies was required. That different strategy. I had to learn that the hard way by putting in the effort, seeking out different sources. There just wasn't a lot of resources, and my doctor and my OBGYN didn't really help at all. So this contrast between, say, chapter 1 and chapter 2 of my health journey really became the catalyst for why I am so passionate about women's midlife health. Okay. I mean, I spent thousands of hours getting certified in as an integrative health practitioner. I've gotten multiple specialized certifications. I've worked with multiple coaches as mentors and teachers. And so I've really developed this expertise in midlife hormonal weight loss. And really for the past 10 years, this has been my focus. I have evolved my practice to focus completely on this because it requires a specific methodology to address the hormonal changes of perimenopause and menopause. And most standard approaches to weight loss completely miss them. Okay. So midlife hits hard, whether you're in perimenopause or whether you've hit that magical 12 months without a period menopause moment. One day you're rocking your jeans, the next you're staring at the scale saying, what the heck happened? I have so been there. And as a weight loss coach, it still blindsided me, right? So after all my personal experiences and my work with clients and getting my own health back, I really have cracked the code on midlife weight loss. I help my clients lose on the average of 20 pounds, where they gain energy, they improve their sleep, they feel better about themselves. And this is my number one focus. This is what I'm passionate about. So now that you know a little bit about where I'm coming from on this, I want to take a step back and I want to talk about, where do our thoughts and patterns around weight loss come from? How were they formed? I'm a child of the 70s. Okay. Maybe you are too. I was born in 1973, right? So what does that mean for us in terms of the knowledge and behaviors that we have around nutrition? Now, I grew up with all the pressure and feeling it from all sides that thin was in. You had to be thin. And our mothers probably were always on the same diet, right? I remember the 3-day cabbage soup cleanse. I remember boxes of Nutrisystem foods. I remember going with my mom to her monthly check-ins at Weight Watchers. Now, if thin was in, fat was definitely out. I don't know if you guys remember the Snackwell's snacks. There were those cookies and cakes. They had that ingredient Olestra in it, which has now been totally phased out. Olestra was supposed to give all these processed foods, aka anti-foods, I like to call them. It was supposed to make it pleasurable for our palate. Unfortunately, it had massive consequences for our digestive system, so that went away. And then we saw the beginnings of the diet soda craze, right? You can have your soda for 0 calories. It's just filled with artificial sweeteners, artificial flavors, which, hello, increase the risk of type 2 diabetes, insulin resistance, fatty liver disease, and overall metabolic syndrome. And people still love to crack their diet sodas today. Everything was about avoidance, elimination, reduction, and making this and pairing this with this rise of these processed foods, these anti-foods, okay? Growing up in Maine, my grandparents taught my mom and my sisters how to garden. So we had tons of vegetables. My mom's canned everything. But still, if I was on my own, I would rather grab a frozen pizza and pop it in the microwave for lunch, right? It was quick, it was easy, it was simple, it tasted good. Didn't do anything for my nutrition, but hey, I didn't even consider that. This instant microwave gratification colors everything that we think and do. Patience is a virtue, yet is completely lacking when it comes to weight loss. That's why we have, very strict 2-day fasts. We complain if our workout doesn't, work even after just a week, right? And this has created this diet roller coaster mentality that you have probably ridden for years. Now, this little history lesson might seem like a detour, but it explains why so many of us struggle with weight loss in midlife. We're using very outdated approaches for our changing bodies. So I want to make a distinction between 2 different types of weight loss, okay? Number 1 is what I like to call the calories in, calories out hustle. Calories are important, but it's not the only thing. This approach worked for me in my chapter 1, before post-birth control syndrome, before perimenopause. It's what most of us did in our 20s and 30s. We cut calories, maybe too much. We pushed ourselves to exhaustion to exercise more. And we basically were kind of like white knuckling our way through these restrictive diets. But this approach, right, it completely ignores what our hormones are doing during perimenopause and menopause. It's like trying to conduct an orchestra when half the musicians are playing a different piece of music. When I tried these same methods during chapter 2 of my journey, they failed me completely. The number on the scale never moved. My sleep didn't get better. My energy dragged, and I just felt terrible. I looked in my mirror and I didn't even recognize myself. So approach number 2, I like to call the hormonal harmony approach. This is the approach that I discovered the hard way through a lot of searching and trial and error and talking with different coaches and studying and just learning everything I could, because my regular doctor and my OBGYN totally failed me. Okay. This approach, the one I discovered, it works. It focuses on hormone balance and optimization. It's about understanding what our bodies are going through, because we're really experiencing this metamorphosis. It's not a breakdown. Okay. Now, when we work with our hormones instead of against them, the weight loss happens naturally. Yes, it's slower, but it's sustainable, and it comes with benefits far beyond the number of the scale, right? Everything I listed off: the energy, the mood, the sleep, the finally feeling at home in your body again. So remember that diet roller coaster that I mentioned? Yeah. This has left generations of women struggling with their weight and health. And so what's the overall problem here? We never learned what it means to be truly healthy. We don't understand how our bodies work, our metabolism, our hormones, our nervous system, the impact of chronic stress. We focus on trying to fit into a swimsuit for our beach vacation versus being so healthy all the time that we never have to worry about that next vacation ever again. And when midlife hits, it literally kicks us in the crotch. Yep, I said that. I know I'm streaming on LinkedIn too, but I said it. So what exactly do I mean by midlife, right? Perimenopause is essentially your second puberty. Now, the good thing about it is you're experiencing it with a lot more wisdom under your belt from all your life experiences. Okay. It can start as early as age 35. It can last 10 to 12 years. This is when your hormones are just all over the place. It's this just chaotic mess. Now, you may recognize that you're starting perimenopause if you're aware of it, because your sleep. Your sleep is usually the first symptom people pick up on because that's when your progesterone starts falling rapidly. And so either you can't go to sleep or you can't stay asleep or your sleep is very fitful. Overall, your sleep is garbage and you wake up feeling really tired, really cranky, ready to overdose on coffee, eat maybe more than you should, and then you're feeling like crap all day, just trying to keep it real. So our hormones, right? Our hormones are the chemical messengers in our body that control all these reactions, and they work hand in hand with our metabolism. And it should be a beautiful symphony, right? All the musicians should be playing the same piece of music. But once midlife hits, it sounds like your cat's like yowling at 2 a.m., right? Have you ever heard that before? It's not pretty. So the weight gain, right? It feels like it can literally happen overnight. Even if you've maintained a relatively healthy weight that you're happy with, it's like, boom, all of a sudden the weight is up and you have not done anything that you can think of intentionally to make that happen. Also, things that can kick in are joint pain, and like shoulder pain, ankles, wrists, knees, right? Really harder recovery from your workouts. Your shoulder can get like kind of frozen. The brain fog I mentioned before, that is the worst. Like I would be running around with like, Post-it notes all over me. My husband would be picking them off my sweater. The sex drive, just having zero sex drive. Suddenly you have transformed from this seemingly normal, lovely person into a woman who's snapping at her husband, yelling at her kids, and you've got all your coworkers around you walking on eggshells. And this wrecks your happiness and it can wreck your promotability at work, right? Now, you notice something's wrong, you do the logical thing, right? You go visit your doctor. And what profound wisdom do they pass out to you? Well, have you considered eating a little less? Are you exercising? Maybe you should just, get out and start running more. And as far as the sex drive, take a bubble bath and light some candles because that's helpful, right? And then you might leave with a prescription for birth control and Zoloft for depression. Our doctors are failing us here. And luckily, menopause and perimenopause are having a moment. So it's up to you to really be your own health detective and start recognizing the symptoms that you have in your body and learning what you can do about them. And you might be just too busy to do it on your own. So that's when it's important that you reach out and you search for answers. You ask for help, okay? I mean, with experiences like I described at the doctor, it's no wonder that millions of women feel abandoned. They feel discouraged. They feel completely worn out. And this should really be one of the most powerful and liberating times of our lives. Yay, no more period, right? So here's what I want you to understand today. Just because something is common doesn't mean it's normal. Say that again. Just because something is common doesn't mean that it's normal, okay? It's not normal to turn down a promotion because your hormones make you feeling haywire, crazy, and brain fogged. It is not normal to withdraw from your spouse because you have zero sex drive. And it's not normal to isolate yourself, to not go out anymore, to not want to be with family and friends because you're depressed. You deserve to navigate some of these midlife changes with some grace and some ease. You do. And you can transform your journey through perimenopause and menopause into a time when you have zero energy left for other people's opinions, people pleasing, and just start living truly free. Free from your periods, yay. Free from that people pleasing, free to explore what truly lights you up inside. You deserve that. And here's kind of that paradigm shift that can change everything. Quick fixes are out. Stop counting on that one magical supplement when you haven't eaten a vegetable in days, okay? It's time to fall in love with the long game. Fitness is forever, and you only lose when you stop playing. So, you ready to understand the why behind your midlife weight gain and discover how to go from feeling completely fatigued to incredibly fabulous? All right, let's dive in. So, I'm going to flip the page here. It's a diagram that I put together. I'm from Maine. My dad's a forester. Of course, I'm going to make a diagram that is a tree. I want you to think about what makes a healthy, happy tree, right? It's got to have light. It's got to have water. It's got to have enough soil with nutrients around the roots, plenty of room to grow. What happens when something disrupts the root system or it doesn't get enough nourishment? The tree can grow crooked. The leaves can be brown and wrinkled, not have very many flowers, not produce any fruit, not a healthy, thriving tree. So what I want to talk about is the 3 hormones that make up your root system, your root causes, and talk about how you can optimize those for metabolic mastery, right? I want you to be a healthy, thriving, beautiful tree. Now, the first hormone that I want to talk about is cortisol, okay? Cortisol is your stress hormone, and it's secreted from these little tiny glands that sit on top of your kidneys. Cortisol is also a fat storage hormone. So when you're stressed, either physically or mentally, your brain sends a signal down to your adrenals and it says, start releasing the stress hormone so you can run away from the stressor. The problem is in our modern day society is that we're not really running away from a lot of things physically, right? It's not like a bear is chasing us in the woods. What are we running away from mentally? Work issues, coworker issues, family issues, aging parent issues, kids issues, right? Those are the things that are stressing us out. And when we're chronically stressed, we're chronically pumping this out. We are wearing out our adrenals, adrenal fatigue, right? And your body, the more your body pumps out cortisol, the less it's pumping out sex hormones. There is a main source of hormone, pregnenolone, the mother of all hormones, that all your other hormones are coming from. And if that source material is being used to pump out cortisol constantly, there's not enough left to make your sex hormones. Cortisol also signals for your body to release glucose so that your cells have energy, which leads me to the second hormone, insulin, right? The blood sugar hormone. Insulin is produced by our pancreas. And what I want you to think about is insulin is the key that unlocks the cell so the glucose that's in your bloodstream can enter the cell and fuel it, give it energy. Now, when there's too much glucose in your bloodstream chronically, because you're pumping cortisol chronically that tells you to run and your body thinks you need energy, what happens? Your key stops working. It gets stuck. That's insulin resistance, okay? So what's happening then? Your cells don't really get the nourishment you need, so you're tired. So you reach for more sugary things because your brain thinks you need more energy. But all that glucose isn't getting into your cells. So what happens? There's nowhere else for it to go except to be stored as fat. It gets converted into fat. This becomes really problematic when we're talking about falling estrogen levels too in midlife. And because as your body stops producing estrogen from its normal sources, your ovaries stop producing, your body tries to give you more by producing more fat because fat is a secondary source of estrogen. And where is all that fat? Around your midsection. Hello, menobelly. Hello, muffin top. That's where it's coming from. Now, the third hormone that's at the root of all things metabolically related is melatonin. Now, you might not even have known melatonin was a hormone. You probably thought of it maybe as a gummy that you take to help you fall asleep. I like to call this one really kind of the rhythm regulator, okay? Melatonin is the yin to cortisol's yang. These two hormones working together control your circadian rhythm. This is your body's 24-hour clock that regulates a lot of processes around sleep and energy levels and digestion and immunity, right? When your melatonin production is disrupted, a lot of things happen or don't happen at night when you should be sleeping. your body's kind of refresh and recharge. That's when your blood sugar levels are supposed to be stabilizing. That's when your hormones are getting reset. That's when your body's repair processes are supposed to be going on. That's when you actually can enter a fasted state and your cells do little repair processes, breaking down old and damaged cells, right? So if you're not getting proper rest, if you're not getting proper sleep, you wake up tired and hungry, and that is a perfect storm for weight gain, right? So again, these three factors here, if they are not fixed, if they are not addressed, then it doesn't matter how much, say, hormone replacement therapy you get to address your testosterone, progesterone, estrogen, DHEA, and thyroid, right? Because when cortisol and these things run rampant, it impacts your body's ability to produce these things naturally for hormonal balance, the top of the tree, right? You have to address the roots if you want strong leaves, beautiful flowers, and great tasting fruit. Make sense? Okay, if you have any questions on this part now, pop them in the comments and I will come back to them. Now, there's one last factor that I want to talk about here, which is kind of a plus, which is sarcopenia. Now, this isn't hormone related, but it's very important when it comes to metabolism. Sarcopenia is the gradual decline or decrease of muscle mass in your body, okay? We lose about 3 to 8% of muscle mass per decade once we hit age 30. And most women by age 50 have lost at least 10% of their muscle mass. This is a problem because the more muscle you have, the more calories you burn at rest. So when you have less muscle, it means you have a slower metabolism, means you're burning less calories at rest. And it also can increase your insulin resistance, and it increases your ability to control hunger. So these are all big threats to your waistline too. So what I want to talk about now, talked about these three hormones and your one bonus factor, right, that are impacting your midlife weight gain. I want to talk about how do you reverse that? What's the roadmap to deal with that? And so I'm just checking my notes here. So those were disruptors, right? You saw those disruptors at the root in the diagram of the tree. If you fix those root cause disruptors and truly heal, I'm not talking any Band-Aid approaches here, then you're going to thrive. You're going to feel amazing. So the first one is I really want you to focus on calming your cortisol. And to do this, I want you to have a little imagery in your head. I want you to think about your checking account, okay? You make withdrawals on your checking account all the time. Food, mortgage, rent, utilities, clothes, whatever. You don't ever want to overdraw that account because you don't want to be operating in the red, right? You make deposits. I want you to think about your nervous system, your CNS, your whole central nervous system as your checking account. Your stressors are your withdrawals, okay? So they're going to happen regularly. The idea that you can completely eliminate stress, it's a fallacy. What you need to do is for all your withdrawals, you need to be making deposits. So what are deposits to help regulate your nervous system, to help calm it down so you can get out of fight or flight and into rest and recharge? There are any activities that make you feel happy, safe, or loved. So think about that for a second. What activities make you feel like that? Write them down. You can share them in the chat if you want to. I would love to see it. These activities should maybe bring down your pulse, quiet your mind. Physically, they're going to turn back activities in your body to make your digestion better, to make your reproductive activities stronger, right? So what makes you feel happy, safe, or loved? I want you to think about it and you prioritize it. Even if you are just a couple times a day stopping, closing your eyes, doing 1 minute of deep breathing, that's a deposit back into your nervous system to help stop that constant pushing of cortisol, that constant wear and fatigue of your adrenals, and will make your whole body work better. Women who have embraced this concept, they call it a game changer, not just for weight loss, but their whole life. Okay, their whole life. So that was number one. Number two, I want to talk about balancing your blood sugar. Okay. The goal is not to eliminate blood sugar fluctuations. Anybody who tells you that, they don't know what they're talking about, okay? The goal is to prevent these massive peaks and valleys that cause you to run to the vending machine at 3 p.m. for a candy bar, okay? I want you to think of a typical graph, right? My LinkedIn people and maybe my Facebook people, you're down with this. So you have a nice graph and you have an upper spec limit and you have a lower spec limit, right? I want your peaks and valleys to be between these two limits. I don't want these massive spikes. So what can you do? One thing you can do is you can make sure that you're getting enough fiber each day. Well, Jen, how much fiber is enough fiber? If you're not getting any fiber, shoot for around 20 grams of fiber a day. The total range is maybe 20 to 30 grams. You can get fiber from low glycemic berries. You can get fiber from what I like to call the slow carb vegetables, which are vegetables that are super high in fiber when you're looking at your Brussels sprouts, your broccolis, your cauliflowers, asparagus, right? Those are terrific. Steel cut oats. So just getting in enough fiber each day is great. Plus it helps with appetite control because fiber makes you feel fuller longer, right? Very, very important. Now, if you haven't been having any fiber at all, don't load up all at once, or it might give you some digestive discomfort, right? Just kind of take it easy and ramp it up. But between 20 and 30 grams with, again, this is just health education. This is not meant as a medical diagnosis or prescription. Just play it safe, okay? Now, another game changer to manage your blood sugar and, help curb that insulin resistance, help get out of that vicious cycle, take a 20 to 30 minute brisk walk after dinner. Do it. This single habit can really change the game for you. It can really help you get your insulin a little bit more sensitive, right? Which is what we want. We don't want insulin insensitivity when that key isn't working in that lock of the cell. Take a brisk walk, use up some of that glucose, those carbs that you just had for dinner. It will help your digestion and it will also help you with your sleep. One of the reasons that you might wake up in the middle of the night is if you are eating too late and your digestive processes are kicking on and your blood sugar is spiking. So along with taking that brisk walk after dinner, why don't you move your dinner time back a couple hours? If you can stop eating 2 to 3 hours before dinner and take that brisk walk, I guarantee your sleep is going to be better, which is, again, better for your two hormones that control hunger and fullness, your ghrelin hunger, and leptin, your satiety hormone. So those are some really great ways that can help you manage your blood sugar and help you get off a weight loss plateau. I had a client, Catherine, where she, because of her work, she had to eat dinner later. And she started taking those walks after dinner, got her off that weight loss plateau. She felt better. She was getting some fresh air at night. I mean, look, it's a beautiful day outside here in Atlanta. We've had the time change. It's lighter later. So a good opportunity to do that. Now, as we were just talking about sleep, right? The next one, sleep optimization. Please stop wearing as a badge of honor two things. One is, I'm so busy, AKA stress. And two is, oh my gosh, I go to bed so late, or, I stayed up late to work, or I was up until 2 a.m. working on that project. That's not setting a good example for anyone. It's not setting a good example for your family. It's not setting a good precedent for your team because they're going to think you expect them to do that as well. Set a healthy example. Get your rest. Get your rest. Prioritize this. This is a game changer. So I want to take a step back a little bit. Think about this. We go to sleep in a box. We wake up in a box. We drive to work in a box. We work all day in a box. We go home to a box. What am I talking about? Our houses, our cars, our office buildings. The exposure that we have to natural light has dramatically decreased when we're talking about our ancestors. Okay, we are biologically programmed to wake up with sunrise and go to sleep with sunset. Do you know that if you went camping in the woods for 2 weeks and didn't bring any artificial sources of light, you would totally reset your circadian rhythms? Now, is that on anyone's agenda or schedule? No, of course not. So if you're not going to do that, let me suggest some more practical ways to do this. And you've probably heard this one before, but I have to say it. You have to reduce your exposure to LED lights. When we went to the LED standard, it was really bad for our sleep. Okay. LED light inhibits melatonin production. And melatonin, it's a wonder hormone. It's not just about sleep. It turns on thousands of activities that have to do with cancer suppression, tumor suppression, all the immunity stuff, energy. It's just amazing. You want your melatonin. You should also be wearing blue light blockers like all the time. If you're in front of a screen like I am, these are my readers, but also my blue light blockers. Reading your Kindle at night, swap it out for a regular book, a book. And use your blue light blockers if you have to use your Kindle. The other thing you can do is really turn down or turn off those LED lights. You can get some amber lighting. You can get some red light. Fantastic. Another tip that you can do is what you do in the morning impacts your sleep at night. Remember, our brain reads light. Our brain doesn't follow a clock. So if you go out in the morning and you're drinking your water with lemon, or maybe you're having your cup of coffee or you're drinking your smoothie, go outside and try and get sunlight on your face, in your eyes for like 5 to 10 minutes. Will help wake you up, help your body's processes wake up, and will help you fall asleep at night. Conversely, if you can go outside and you can get sunset light on your face, that's great to help you with winding down, right? It makes sense. Our brain reads light. Get it more natural light if you want to build a better sleep pattern. Okay. Now, last part. Okay, let's talk about strength prioritization, right? You got to build that metabolic muscle. Okay. Cardio alone will not save your metabolism. Strength training is the secret weapon for everybody, but especially for women in midlife, right? Why are you doing strength training? You are creating and preserving your muscle mass. Remember, we talked about sarcopenia, that gradual decrease of muscle mass. If you're lifting, you don't have to worry about that. The more muscle mass you have, the faster your metabolic rate is going to be, your BMR, your basal metabolic rate. BMR simply means what are the amount of calories that your body is burning while you're at rest. I mean, it's only doing the things it needs to do to keep you alive. Your heart's beating, you're digesting food, your brain waves are firing, those sort of things. So that's what your BMR is. The more muscle you have, the faster and better your BMR is, right? This is fantastic. This also helps you manage your blood sugar and get off that terrible insulin resistance cycle, because your muscles store glucose, stored energy for your workouts. The more muscle you have, you turn into this metabolic calorie burning machine, right? And if you're getting bigger storage in your muscles, then the less of that unused glucose is going to be converted to fat and end up on your waist or your arse. Okay. So huge reason to lift. Another reason is it will help boost your testosterone, which helps for overall optimized hormone levels, helps for your sex drive, helps for just everything. And the last reason, if none of these reasons have convinced you to pick up a weight, this one should. Ladies, do you like glowing, thick, beautiful skin? There was a study done in June of 2023 that proved that resistance training helps create thicker, younger, and healthier skin. Boom. It stimulates human growth hormone. It stimulates collagen production. Every aspect of your skin, the scaffolding, the actual skin itself, it stimulates these dermoblasts. And so you're getting that thicker, more beautiful, healthy skin. Oh my gosh. Yes, I want that. I'm lifting. I'm 51. I don't think I look 51, right? And I want to keep looking that way. So the last thing I do want to address as a fear is that no, if you start lifting weights regularly, you will not get bulky. Women's hormones, naturally, we're not built for that, okay? The women that you see that have big muscles, they're training for that. They're eating for that. They're doing that deliberately. A normal strength training workout that is not for a stage presence is not going to get you bulky. Excuse me. So the 4 key steps to transform your body in midlife to help unlock that midlife weight loss gain, you've got to calm your cortisol. Stop wearing a badge of honor that I'm so stressed, I'm so busy. Just stop it. It's just not good for you. Stress is a killer, okay? You've got to balance your blood sugar. Do those simple tips. Get that walk in after dinner, right? Get your fiber in. Number 3, you have to reclaim your rest. Prioritize sleep. Your body and your mind will thank you. Everybody will thank you, right? Waking up refreshed and energized is such a gift, and you can give it to yourself. And number 4, prioritize strength training. Okay, it's going to turn you into a metabolic powerhouse. You'll be burning calories all the time, right? In a cardio workout, you're only burning calories while you're working out. In a strength training workout, you're burning calories while you're working out. You're burning calories after you're working out. Just that range of calorie burning keeps expanding and expanding. And that's what you want. That's what you want. Now, these strategies that I've given you are not just about weight loss, right? They're about writing a completely new chapter for your life story. And you know what amazes me about women like you, and honestly, women like me? You're incredible at your jobs. You're incredible about taking care of your team. You're incredible about helping support your teammates. You're supporting your families. You're supporting your spouse, everyone and everything. But somewhere along the line, you stopped taking care of yourself and you thought either you didn't deserve it or you're not worth it or it was selfish. You stopped taking care of yourself. You stopped dreaming. You stopped wanting things for yourself. If I want something just for me, it's selfish. That is not true. Not true at all. Okay. You know that you're meant for more. You know it. You're allowed to have a meaningful life outside of work. You're allowed to do things that don't involve your children or your spouse. You're allowed to be with your friends. You're allowed to make new friends. You're allowed to try things completely by yourself if you want to. You can have joy and happiness in your life. And if your soul is whispering it to you, do not ignore those whispers, okay? Those whispers are the first chapter in writing your new life. So, imagine waking up with energy that carries you through the entire day without a 3 p.m. vending machine run. Picture yourself confidently wearing clothes that you love, that you feel sexy in, you feel confident in, you feel bold, you can make things happen, right? Envision having the mental clarity to be able to make brilliant contributions at work, for your team, for your boss. Imagine having enough energy to engage and do fun things with your family when you get home. In this new chapter, you are no longer fighting your body, but you're learning how to work in harmony with it. You're making decisions from a place of energy abundance, not energy depletion. You're showing up fully in your relationships, your careers, your passions. You're experiencing the true liberation that comes with mastering your midlife metabolism. When you feel better, everything becomes easier. Now, the 4 strategies that I've talked about, these are the foundation of my program called the Modern Midlife Woman Experience. It's a body transformation program designed specifically for women ready to reclaim their vitality and redefine what midlife means. Okay? Unlike the quick fixes that I talked to before that had us stuck on that diet roller coaster, my approach works with your changing hormones, not against them. I've created a proven framework. It's going to optimize your metabolism. It's going to balance your hormones, and it's going to help you shed unwanted weight while building strength and energy and confidence. So what makes this program different? I got them a little bit out of order here. So what makes this program different, right? First of all, when I put this together, I thought about what are the things that I think are most important in programs that I've either participated in or benchmarked or whatever. And the first one is, even if it's a group program or online program, you got to start with a one-on-one. I have a one-on-one with every woman who joins my program. Okay. I listen to her fears. I listen to her hopes, and I help her as we design a program that meets her where she's at and where she wants to be. Doesn't that make sense? You want to feel heard. You want to feel seen, especially if you're going to trust someone to help them with this massively important undertaking. You got to have comprehensive support, right? So I have group trainings. I have live teaching, right? Group calls are the best because there's nothing more powerful than listening to another woman get coached and learning from her experience, and then being able to offer your support, feeling like you have a safe space, right? That's incredibly valuable. The other thing is you have 24/7 access to the materials, the videos, the meal plans, the recipes, the tips, the tricks, right? All of it in a beautiful online platform. This isn't a Facebook group. This isn't a LinkedIn group, right? This is a beautiful platform designed to support the community goals. And this last part is vibrant community. This is a new program. So I'm building up the membership. And as a new early adopter, you have the opportunity to shape how the community feels, right? You have an opportunity to influence that. You have an opportunity to really drive the discussions. It's very, very powerful. And I just want to make sure that people have a place that they can feel safe and that their concerns will not be dismissed or ignored. Okay. Now, the women in my programs who have been my clients, they're not just losing weight. That might be why they come to me. They think they want weight loss and they achieve it, but they get so much more. Okay. They are authoring this beautiful new chapter in their lives where they feel great. They're sleeping through the night. They're focused at work. They're enjoying sex again. They're showing up for their best selves, for the people that they love, including themselves. Okay. Now, Melanie, I think you saw Melanie on the other slide. She is a client in my program and she is just doing absolutely phenomenal. I mean, what'd she say? I'm down 13 pounds since I started. I'm loving my breath work, right? Working on that nervous system. She does it every morning. Her workouts are good. And the best is the achiness that she had in her hands and knees is completely gone. That joint pain that we get from chronic inflammation, right? It's gone. She has her physical in 2 weeks, and I want to see those lab numbers. I think my doctor will be happy and might take me off some of my meds. So happy with my progress. Now, Melanie has actually had her doctor's appointment. Her doctor was thrilled with her progress, and she's keeping going. So it's just phenomenal. Now, women of all backgrounds, of all professions, they're writing their transformative chapter 3 story with the results that go beyond the scale. Here's what I want from you today. I want you to stop wasting time on generic solutions that don't address the root causes of your midlife weight gain. Think about the tree, right? Think about the quick tips I mentioned today. But that's just the start, right? In our strategy call, we will together draft an outline of your chapter 3, right? A customized roadmap specifically designed for your body's changing needs. I've helped so many women reclaim their health, their energy. They've finally lost the stubborn weight that's been holding them back. It's holding them back from doing things. I always ask women, so what would your life be like if you didn't have this weight? And they stop and they think for a minute. And then some of the most beautiful things come out, right? They have the energy to play with their grandkids. They can get down on the floor to play with them when their knees aren't hurting. They can go to the beach and take off their wrap and not feel self-conscious. These are important things. These are our most inner secrets, our inner fears. And you need to have a safe place and a safe person to work through them. Okay. So if you are ready to feel like yourself again, only better, start implementing the tips that I laid out today. Definitely. And if you're ready to take that a step further, reach out to me. I'm ready to help you write your chapter 3. This is my personal invitation from me to you to reach out. You can do that 2 ways. You can go to jenoknin.com/free consultation. You can schedule a free consult, or you can send me a DM either on LinkedIn or Facebook. The world needs your wisdom now and more than ever, right? Women have to stand up and we have to be heard on the things that are important to us. And so I came up with this last night, and so I'm offering it first time today, is for anyone that is interested in getting started, I am offering a 4-week trial membership in my program where you can get started for as little as $100 a week. I'm offering this now. If you're watching this on the replay, today is March 19th, 2025, and I'm offering this now, Wednesday through Sunday. Okay. So if you are interested in a trial membership, you get in and you get the whole experience. You get the whole access to the whole program. Nothing's bad. You just try it for 4 weeks and you can get started for as little as $100. Okay. So if you're interested in that, set up that consult or just send me a DM. I'll get back to you with with more details on that. But again, the world needs your wisdom. You deserve to go through this with some grace and ease. I do not want another woman to suffer how I did when it is unnecessary. It is unnecessary. Menopause is having a moment right now. The conversations are happening. The information is there. The help is available. Just reach out and make a change. What would your life be like if you weren't struggling with unwanted weight, lack of energy, poor sleep, and hormones that are driving your brain crazy? What would your life be like? What could you do? What could you accomplish? Think about that and then reach out to me. I want to help you prioritize you and help you become the strongest, most vibrant version of yourself. Thanks so much, everybody. Thank you for sharing your lunch with me today. I really, really appreciate it. And again, if you're watching this on the replay, and then go ahead and hit hashtag replay in the comments. I'm going to check to see if there's any questions. Jennifer, success. Yay. Great info. I'll have to bookmark this and review later. Perfect. That's fine. So again, thank you so much for being here. And again, the limited time trial 4-week membership is from today, 3/19/2025 until Sunday. So just send me a DM if you're interested and I'll get back to you with next steps. Take care, everybody, and have a great rest of your day.